Hi everyone, so welcome to this interview. So I'm here today with Yu who is currently a CUHK Law student. Okay, so today I'm going to ask him a lot of questions about how he got into CUHK Law. Okay, so if you want to study law in the future, this video will be extremely valuable to you because here is somebody who have succeeded in doing that. Okay, so congratulations. So I know you got into CUHK Law last year, right? So could you let us know how hard is it to get into CUHK Law? What is the admission rate and what is the requirement really?
So, my offer for CHK Law was 39 points. For
Hmm.
IB, that was the condition they uh, asked for me to meet for me to be able to go to the school. But then on their website, I'd say they would also demand. They said it's like you would be able to apply once you're above 38 points, but I think they will also give you specific conditions according to your level. So, for example, for my higher level subjects, they said that like all my higher level subjects must be above 6. And so I would say when compared to HKU, CUHK is definitely a bit easier to get into because the conditions are a bit lower. But
Okay.
I'd say the admission rate for CU is also um, I'm not so sure about the specific admission rate, but from my observations, so my cohort, there's about 80 people. So, but I'm not so sure about as to how many people applied for it. But I'd say the level of scrutiny they have for candidates is also pretty high as well.
So there's only 18 students studying law in your grade. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. So yeah,
That's very little. Okay.
80, very little.
So did you get a HKU offer by the way?
Uh, I did not get an issue.
So you applied, but you did not get the offer.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Because I applied for the harder double degree program, so
Mm.
I didn't apply for the standard like LLB program in Hong Kong. That's the basic
Okay,
law
okay. So
university.
did you need to do an interview? What did you do in order to apply to CUHK Law?
So I would have to submit my CVs, personal statements, as well as attend an interview.
Okay.
So with regards to the interview, I think the main emphasis the interviewer wants to know is whether you're actually passionate about the subject, because what they're concerned about is that even though they might accept some students into this law program, but then a lot of students tend to drop out of the program. Let's say it's similar to my first year as well, because at the start there's like about 120 students or so, but now there's only 80. So I think they want to. The main emphasis is they want to know whether you're passionate about law, so that you don't drop out, and that's the main emphasis. My interviewer at least
So
said that.
what did she ask? Is it a one-on-one interview or is it a group interview?
Yeah, it's a one-on-one interview. So
Okay.
they ask very general questions. They won't ask like law specific questions. So they might ask things like, why would you consider CUHK? But so there are three law schools. Why would you consider CUHK? What do you like about CUHK? Uh, so and they would also ask about your extracurricular activities as well. But
Okay.
uh, a strange question they asked me, which was quite memorable, was at the end they asked me, what do you think is the biggest problem in Hong Kong right now?
Okay.
That's Yeah,
So what
that's a
did you say
really
to that
weird
question?
question to ask, at least for me. So yeah, that was the last question they asked me, and I had to. That was the weird question, I would say.
So
Yeah.
can you walk us through like okay, so what did you answer for if they ask you like why are you interested in CUHK, what did you answer for that question?
So I would because I answered that I really like the learning environment of CUHK.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People tend to be friendlier, and also there's a collegiate system, so there's lots of activities, lots of opportunities for exchange as well. So that's mainly how I.
Okay. How about your to demonstrate your passion in law? How do you answer that question?
So mainly because I looked at their website and said they offered like a dual degree program with King's College London.
Uh-huh.
So I also mentioned that as well and say like I think it's a wonderful opportunity because I can get an undergraduate law degree in CUHK and also a master's degree in KCL within 4 years. And I said that I would like to go for this as well. And once you mention something that's like they're faculty related, they tend to think that you're actually really interested in this subject and that you read through their their program and what electives they offer. So that shows your level of passion.
Do you talk about like your internships, about like why your experiences related to law, that you need to talk about that?
For interns, I don't think it's not a main point. They don't really expect secondary school students to complete internships, but I'd say if you have the opportunity, then of course try to go for it as well. But as I know, not a lot of law firms want to hire like secondary students for internships.
But I mean, like, how when they ask you why are you interested to study law, how did you answer that question?
But yeah, so I referred back to some of my internship experiences as well, and so there's this example I refer to, which is in a sense there's a case that there was this case that during my internship I was in charge of, and through that I sort of explained how this case, and I said that like I wanted to help like the underprivileged to help them gain access to justice. So that was the part, because I mentioned how like legal fees are really expensive, and how like some minorities within society are not able to receive like legal representation in court. So I said how like I would like to become a lawyer that helps this underprivileged group. That's mainly
okay. So you even talked about like an experience you had in your internship, and then you tie it to that, right? Okay. So with regards to your application essay, could you tell us what do you think made you stand out with your application essay?
I'd say it would be the balance between academics and extracurricular activities, because so I wrote my personal statement like similar to one, because I wrote one personal statement for UCAS. So I was told that I should keep it at like a 50-50-ish proportion, where 50% I talk about my academics and also my extracurricular activities. So for the academics part, I talk about my internship experiences and how I'm passionate about law. And as for my extracurricular activities, I talk about how I've done like since for my extracurricular activities, I did swimming as a sport, as well as like multiple United Nations debate, etc. And so I mentioned these and how I say that like through these extracurricular activities, I could help my study in law, because I have the soft skills from debate and model United Nations.
Okay.
So I mentioned this as well.
So with regards to why you're interested in law, did you write about like your internship experience as well, like how you helped the underprivileged people?
Yep, it was as I explained. So
okay, understood. Okay, so next question. So I want to ask. So there are these different law schools. So I assume people watching this interview probably is studying wants to be a lawyer, right? So does it make a difference which law school do you go to? Like, is it better if you study law in HKU, or like does it really matter if you want to be a lawyer? Does it matter which law school you go to?
So this applies to my parents as well, but there's a common misconception that only like the Hong Kong U graduates get offered, like tend to get more experiences, more job opportunities in the legal field. That's because how their faculty is obviously older, has a longer history. But I asked like several CU PCLL graduates. They said that like actually it's not the case. Actually, it doesn't matter which law school you're from, because they still look at your CV, your grades, as well as your attitude towards like working.
Okay.
They also asked me, it's sort of like if they would just look at your CV and said that, oh, you're from HKU, I'd hire you, then why would they still need interviews? Like, of course, they would still want an interview process to see. It doesn't matter which law school you're from, but it's just whether to see you're qualified or not for the job. So that's
Okay.
how they would.
Understood.
Yeah.
So regarding ECA, so you mentioned you did swimming, debate and Model United Nations, right? So I can see how debate and Model United Nations. Obviously, it's about speaking and it's about like arguing, right? So I can see how that relates to law. But are there any other extracurriculars that you have done that you think helps?
Not exact. There's not much in particular because I mainly focused on these three as
Okay.
obviously studying for the IBs is pretty tough and I didn't have that much time to allocate to more extracurricular activities.
Okay. So then I would like to ask, because a lot of IB students say they want to study law, but I'm not sure how many actually know what you learn in law. So can you briefly, because you have studied law in university for 1 year now, so can you tell people like what do you actually learn in law in university, and what should people expect to learn, and what is it like?
Mm, honestly, I'm not trying to talk bad about my faculty, but you should expect that like these lectures to be pretty boring,
Okay.
in the sense that like the stuff. I'm not sure like because there are perceptions that law is fun and like there's but then in reality there's a lot of reading and
Hmm.
the professors expect you to do a lot on your own, and so for law, like for stuff that I've learned, it's mainly there's a lot of memorization involved and a lot of cases, a lot of reading. So I'd say the biggest outcome I've learned from like the first year in law is how to process large amounts of text and how to
Mm.
apply it in writing like essays, because that's all our examinations are in essays. So yeah,
So
that's
if you were to compare law to an IB subject, which IB subject do you think it's most similar to?
uh, I'd say it's mostly a mixture of history and economics in a
History and
sense that
economics. Okay.
since both these subjects are like very essay uh, style, like you answer these questions in essay style
Hmm.
like answers, and but you need the like analysis stuff from economics as well as the essay related like structuring from history, because from history it's also like very open ended questions. It's
Okay.
also similar in law, like they would ask a really open ended question and ask you to write a like 3 hour response to this question. So you would need to like structure your essays very well, like similar to what I did in history.
Okay, that's interesting. So next question. So it might be a little early to ask you this question, but what is the path to becoming a lawyer? Like, do you just graduate and then you become a lawyer? Like, can you explain to us what you know regarding the path to actually becoming a lawyer?
So as for me, since I've only completed my first year of studies, I'd say for my path to becoming a lawyer right now is just to look for different like internship opportunities, just to
Hmm.
try out the different legal positions within the legal field. So I'm planning my summer so I could try like for a solicitor's internship, for a
Okay.
mini pupillage for a barrister as well. Maybe try to get a internship to work at the DOJ, so the Department of Justice. So just to test out where I want to go, whether I want to become a solicitor, whether I want to become a barrister, etc. So these are choices I have to make, and as I go through these different internship opportunities, I can better gauge as to what I like and sort of analyze the work environment of that particular role and how that and whether I like it or not. So that's the main focus I'm
Okay.
planning for myself in the next couple of years.
Okay. So For students who might be interested to apply to CUHK, so can you let us know what is life like at CUHK? Do you recommend this university? Do you live on campus?
Uh, I I haven't lived on campus, but I'd say since I couldn't say a lot for sure because of the year how like I've only been to school CUHK for like 4 months and the rest is all online classes. But I'd say the 4 months of the first semester, it was pretty fun in a sense that like a lot of people you meet are really nice and it's just a very friendly learning environment. I would say as people are very willing to help and there's a lot of different types of people, groups of people where you can befriend, or there's a lot. So basically, there's a lot of people where even though uh, I'd say it would help you in your learning process because a lot of these people are willing to help you, and professors are friendly as well.
Okay. So just one final question. So yeah, we're really happy that you can study the degree of your dreams, right? So can you just briefly explain how did HKExcel help you while you were an IB student?
So I'd say the biggest help I received from HKExcel is that a lot of the tutors are really professional, and I had a lot of help from them in regards to the subjects which I'm the weakest in, and so it actually helped me boost my grades a lot. And so it also gave me a lot of confidence as a lot of the times I wasn't that confident in answering, like, let's say, the history question or the English essay questions. But the tutors, they were willing to give me opportunity to practice, and they would also give up the time to help me mark these practice questions I've completed. And also, there's this English tutor I had, since she's also a graduate of CUHK, she offered a lot of insight to the school as to what's good and what's bad, and so it gave me a holistic understanding of what's it like to be studying in CUHK. And yeah, so these are the biggest takeaways I had from HKExcel.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for taking this interview.